Hey there and welcome. This is Vince of vinceprep.com and Agos Consulting. Waitlist video part 2. So in part 1, I was pretty discouraging, basically saying there's nothing to do, just wait, sort of. And someone made a comment, well, what about other schools? What other than Harvard and Stanford? And frankly, Harvard, I'm noticing, is putting a lot more people on the wait list because I think they're really worried about their yield because of the economy and the insane salaries, being reported, for example, in Poets and Quants, the starting salaries for Stanford MBAs are crazy high. But remember here, folks, as someone who grew up in that area and doesn't live there now for a bunch of reasons, it's insanely expensive. And so it's a bubble, and this too shall pass. Anyway, real estate prices in California, absurd, especially around Stanford and the tech industry. Anyway, Stanford puts people on wait lists. Last year, I helped a guy get off the Stanford wait list. He wrote a very targeted and specific letter. I worked with him really hard to figure out a message and figure out how he could make a contribution. He dug very deep into the school. The school had shown interest in him in various ways. I won't say too much because I maintain client confidentiality as a member of AGAC, but we worked together for not many hours, and I was really proud of him that he could get admitted to Stanford in the end. So it does happen even with that school, GSB, MBA. And Harvard, of course it happens. It's a much bigger school, and there's, at the moment, a lot more people on the wait list. And so you can do things, and you should do things. And so I have helped people get off the Stanford wait list and the Harvard Business School wait list, HBS wait list. And Wharton too. So let me give an example for Wharton. So, let me just, I'm going off on a tangent here. The comment in YouTube, and disclaimer, I'm sorry if you make comments in YouTube and I don't reply to them. I'm actually, and people laugh when I say this, so I always say I'm shy. It's true. I've trained for thousands of hours, but I'm not that interactive, and I don't, I don't know. I do these videos as a free, sometimes ad, supported. I need to cover cost of my website. My logic is basically if I can make enough on YouTube to cover the cost of having and maintaining a decent website, a sort of break even. But I view this as a service to the community, answering individual questions without knowing your background. Hi, I'm this type of applicant from that type of country. What are my chances of getting into school A? I'm not going to answer that. I don't know you, and it's like, throwing, I don't read tea leaves, just put it that way. So I don't answer those kinds of questions. If you really want to talk to me, fill out my intake form. I may not reply to that either. And there's a disclaimer on my website about that. Anyway, it's a busy time of the year, and I don't mean to sort of just apologize all over the place. I know that's not attractive. So let me get to my point. No matter what school you are on the wait list, these are my 3 methods. I've been thinking a lot about this for the past 24 hours, and I know this isn't perfect, but I think it's good enough for now. So I'm going to share this method with you. Basically, first of all, it's go. I'll just summarize because I always forget to do this part. Go in. So go inside and talk to yourself. That sounds kind of new agey and kooky, but I'm quite serious about that. I'll explain what that means in a minute. Sort of go in. Then basically not only go in, but actually make a decision in your mind, make a decision, they're not the same thing. I'm very introspective and I'm really bad at making decisions. Actually, I sit around thinking about stuff all the time and I don't make decisions fast enough. I know that is a weakness in my leadership style. I learned that when I was young, and I just recently learned that again with AGAC. So I know that about myself. So go in, decide, and then finally get help. And I don't mean contact me. I'm not actually trying to sell waitlist support services. I can't handle that many people for waitlist support. But get help from someone, a professional or someone you really trust in the community. And not just, yes, an alum, but the problem with alumni, and no offense, I'm an alum of various schools, but the way I got into Stanford undergrad or NYU grad school or any of the other myriad schools I've been accepted to over the course of my life The way I got in wouldn't be the way you got in. So alums will be like, oh, here's what you got to do. And they'll tell you their story or their friend's story. The problem is you need to talk to somebody who's seen this as a pattern. And that's why I do belong to AGAC and believe in AGAC, because lots of our AGAC members are really, really deeply experienced professionals who care very, very deeply about you and your story. And that's why a lot of AGAC members don't give away lots of free advice all the time. Some of them do, some of them don't. It's a personal choice. But anyway, my 3 steps, did you get those? Let me quickly repeat them and then dig a little bit deeper into them and then try to keep this one brief. I didn't practice much. That's why this one is not that concise, because I wanted to get this out ASAP. And so I'm making this up as I go a bit, except for this part. And here it is again. Go in, decide, get help. I remembered this with 3 letters, GDH. I don't know what that stands for. Probably nothing, but it was my mnemonic to remember it. So go inside means, okay, so case in point, let's say you've been admitted to school A, but you've just been waitlisted now by school B. And using these letters isn't good because it implies that there's a preference in your mind. Let's say in your mind you haven't really decided, right? But I'm just going to stick with AB for now because I can't think of a better example. Or you've been admitted to school. I'll just look at what I'm wearing. You've been admitted to school blue, and you've been waitlisted by school black. Okay, blue and black. I don't think there's a value judgment in there. Maybe there is in someone's world. I'm going to stick with blue and black. So school blue has taken you, and you'd be very happy at school blue. And school black has waitlisted you. Go inside and really sit with that for 24 hours. Don't panic. Don't take it personally. That's the other thing about this. Wait lists or waiting pools, as Stanford used to call them, they are a necessary evil. Admissions officers are not, by and large, cruel people. They use them because they need them, because they have to fill seats. And they don't, even the great schools like Harvard, their 90% matriculation rate, or their acceptance rate, their yield rate, 90% used to be 9 out of 10 people admitted to Harvard Business School choose Harvard Business School for their MBA. That number is starting to incrementally fall, and Harvard is I don't know. I don't want to use the word panicking, but they're changing their strategy. I'm seeing that absolutely they're using their wait lists in 2 at least very different ways. Anyway, I keep going off on tangents, and I'm sorry. It's a symptom of a lack of preparation. So let this be a lesson for you guys for your interviews. Anyway, sit with this, and then more importantly, really, really decide, okay? Because here's the thing. Are you just trying to collect trophies? Which is fine. When I was applying to undergrad, I wanted to get into every single school I applied to. And when Yale, early decision or early action, whatever it was in those days, I applied to Yale early. If I got in, I was going to go. I got deferred or whatever. I got put into the regular round. And I was heartbroken, and I was mad, and I felt rejected. And I was like, oh, Yale. And I was really, and looking back, I'm really, really grateful for it. I'm very happy with the school I chose, and whatever. You never know how these things work out. But I mean, look, at age 18, I was trying to collect trophies, right? I got into a bunch of Ivy schools, and I got into a bunch of West Coast Ivies, whatever, Berkeley, Stanford. And I wasn't going to quit because I wanted to know who liked me. And I still had that tendency when I applied to grad school for my master's in educational technology. I wanted to get into Harvard, and I did, and anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. But I get it. I know what it feels like to be a trophy collector. Now, at age 47, after doing this work for 15 years, at this point, if my dream school admitted me, I would, having been on the, I'm not on the inside of the industry, but I'm next to the admissions officers because they talk and trust AGAC. They speak to us and trust us. I get it. And I know from their perspective, it's just so much cooler if you say, look, other school, like back to my colors. All right. So blue school takes you, all right, and black school waitlists you. And other than the ego bruising, that it doesn't feel very good to not be admitted, and other than feeling competitive with friends or coworkers or just whatever, that admission result would make you sort of feel good about yourself, and it would feel good to say no to that school for whatever reason. Maybe that's kind of childlike, but look, I've said no to Harvard twice in my life, and it felt darn good. It's part of my personality. I'm a what they call an iconoclast. I'd love to tear down. You put yourself on a pedestal, and I will do anything I can, passively or actively. Not actively. I'm not a violent person, but passively in all kinds of ways, with humor, or all kinds of ways. I will try to tear you down. It is just my personality. It's always been a part of my personality to be somewhat iconoclastic. So it felt darn good to say no to Harvard twice, but. A couple years ago, a client got into Stanford. He knew he really wanted Stanford, and he tried to stop Harvard from admitting him, but they admitted him anyway. But what a cool thing! And that guy is so much cooler than I am. I really learned from that. That guy, whew, that guy is like boom. The guy's got a heart the size of whatever, 747. And confidence. Geez, talk about confidence, right? He's like, no, Harvard, wait, oh, you admitted to me. Well, he wasn't just doing that to show off. He really, really felt it's like, hey, look, I don't want to. Anyway, tangent. Do you really care about school black, or are you just trying to collect a trophy? So that's go inside it and then decide. And then if in your mind, and here's the thing, decide that if school black will take me off the wait list, if school black will admit me from the wait list, I will go. Not I might go, but I will go. And if you can't say that with confidence, first of all, don't ask for my help. And that's just a silly thing. I'm just one guy. But my point is, I think it's rude to get a lot of people to help you. Look, I'm a professional, but still, I will not let you pay me until you can look me in the eye and tell me that if I'm going to help you get admitted to school black, you're going to school black. It's not you don't get into two and then think about it. And here's the thing, you might have your heart broken again because you applied to school black because you like school black and school black waitlisted you, and that never feels good. But is this revenge, or is this, do you truly believe intellectually, emotionally, and otherwise that you really deeply fit with school black more than school blue? And if I help you, it's not just about me. If people, alumni write letters for you, all the various things that people can do to support you actively and passively and directly and indirectly, if you ask for anyone's help, let's put it that way, professional or not, and some of my AGAT colleagues would absolutely not agree with this, and I'm a bit strict here, and I'm a bit extreme in my logic on this one, but just me being where I am at this point in my life, for me helping you with waitlist, and I do this with like 2 or 3 people a year, if I don't believe you that you're going to go to black, if I help you get into black, I'm not going to help you. But more importantly, because it's not about me, and I'm not going to help most of you watching this channel, and thank you for your time and attention for watching this anyway. If in your heart of hearts, so go in, think about it, decide. And decide you're willing to have your heart broken again. Because look, you might stay on the wait list for school black until June, July. It might not work out, folks. It's like love, okay? It is love. Admissions is very much like love. It's about fit. It's about people. Admissions officers talk about it. It's like a marriage or whatever. I don't use those metaphors anymore because I'm happily married. And when I say those things, it sounds like I'm flirting with people. I'm not. But that's what admissions officers say. And I think it's a really excellent metaphor about the U.S. admissions process in general, because it's a lifelong commitment. And it's another topic. And then save that for another video. Anyway, my point is, go in, think about it, decide. I'm willing to have my heart broken again. I'm going to put my all into this. I know the chances are slim, yada, 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 but I'm going for it. And if they take me, I'm going. Not I'm going to think about it. I'm going. At least that's my way of doing this, okay? And again, that's extreme. I'm not saying it has to be this for everybody. I'm not judging you. If you can't decide that, I'm not going to judge you, but I'm just saying this is how I would do it at this stage in my life, 47, way too old to apply to any program, yada, 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 okay? But that's how I would do it. And finally, get help. And again, I'm not trying to sell a service, but I'm just saying get help from someone that you trust, who's seen the pattern recognition for, I would say honestly, and again, some of my AGAT colleagues or even some of my AGOS colleagues won't like me saying this, but there's sort of an old phrase that says I used to hate when people said this, but they were like, look, you don't really master something until you've done it full time for 10 years. And I was like, done it. Well, they say done it for 10 years, but they don't mean as a hobby. Right? Like I've ridden a skateboard once. If I ride a skateboard once a year for 10 years, I will not have mastered it. I think that it has to do with duration of time and depth of activity. But anyway, another tangent. Sorry. I'm gonna wrap this baby up. Go in, go inside, make a firm decision, and then go for it. Get help. Alumni, visit campus. And last thing I'll say, and I promise this is the last one, don't go overboard. I won't say too much because I do believe in client confidentiality, but there was a guy once upon a time who got waitlisted by a certain famous school, and he had like heads of state. He was very well connected, and he was pulling out every single, he was pulling in every single favor. And, to his credit, School Black would have been the school he had gone to, but he was obsessive about it. When the admissions officer came through town, the person agreed to meet with him simply to tell him to stop. And this is something that I had said to this person and whatever, but don't panic. Don't bother them. Don't annoy them. They're people just like you and me doing a job that's very seasonal. It's a great job in a lot of ways. It's a really hard job in a lot of ways. It is what it is. But my point is, don't play around with them. Don't tease them if you're not committed. That's my rule. Maybe not everyone's rule, but it's definitely mine. And finally, don't just bombard them with heavy artillery. Gung, 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 gung. There is a timing and a pacing. Just like all good things in life, there is a time and a place, or however that saying goes. To everything, turn, all that stuff. I'm showing my age here. All right, I'm signing off. Thanks for watching. As always, please do subscribe. Subscribers are the first to know when I've made a new video. You've heard me say that before, but it's true, and I do appreciate it. And that's it for now. Hope you get off the wait list. And most of all, this too shall pass, right? The last cliche the last platitude or cliche for the day. This too shall pass. At the moment, it feels like the most important thing in the world, the most tragic thing in the world. But look, you may not be admitted anywhere, and that's a different situation. But if you are admitted somewhere, and it's School Blue, and you applied there in the first place because you would have been happy there, start to try to find a way to fall in love with School Blue. I was about to go off on another tangent. I'm going to actually stop myself there. No more tangents. Bye for now. Thanks.